Rain poured over the crowded city market as Adam stood near the edge, pretending to blend in. He wasn't just another face in the crowd, he was the nephew of one of the city's most feared Mafia bosses. But that night, he wasn't here for business. A street dancer caught his attention, a girl moving with such freedom it felt unreal. Her ankle had a small red thread that glimmered under the lights. Adam told himself he was only observing. Across the street, a silent black car waited. Inside sat a cop, her brother, watching him. Adam lived between two worlds. By blood, he belonged to crime, but in heart, he wanted something cleaner. His uncle trusted him with errands that involved quiet threats and shadow deals. Yet every time Adam returned home, the guilt stuck like smoke. That night at the market, something shifted. The dancer's laughter, her careless spin under the rain, it pulled him out of the dirt. Even for a second. He stayed longer than he should have, watching her perform for coins, unaware that his every move was being noted by someone else's trained eyes. Back at his uncle's mansion, the atmosphere was tense. Farid, the old man who ruled half the city, lectured Adam about loyalty. "You carry my name," he said, tapping his cane against the marble floor. Adam nodded, but his mind wasn't there. He thought about the girl, how different her world seemed. Farid mentioned police surveillance tightening around their operations. "Trust no one," he said, "not even yourself." Adam promised to be careful, though he didn't realize that promise would soon become impossible to keep. That night, he dreamed of the dancer's face, not the danger around him. Morning came with news. A new detective had been assigned to monitor their family. Adam brushed it off until he heard the name. Officer Daniel Reed. He didn't know the man, but something about it made Farid uneasy. "He's young, ambitious, wants a headline," Farid said. "Keep your distance." Adam agreed, though curiosity gnawed at him. The more he tried to focus on his uncle's orders, the more he thought about the dancer's smile, the red thread, the sound of rain. His mind felt split. Half in loyalty, half chasing a peace he couldn't explain. That evening, Adam returned to the market, telling his driver he needed to check on a contact. The truth was simpler. He wanted to see her again. The rain had stopped, but puddles reflected the neon signs like fractured glass. She was there, tuning her small speaker, chatting with kids who helped her carry props. When she saw Adam, she paused, but didn't look scared. "You again?" her eyes seemed to say, though she kept dancing. Adam leaned against a wall, pretending he wasn't watching. He didn't know that every step toward her pulled him deeper into risk. Lily noticed him too. People usually ignored street performers, but this man didn't. His eyes were steady, not judging or pitying. After her dance, she sat nearby, breathing hard. Adam offered her a towel from his car, trying not to sound awkward. She thanked him, smiling briefly. A kid interrupted, handing her an empty jar. "You forgot this." She laughed, holding it up. Honey, imported, a rare treat someone had gifted her for her birthday. Adam watched her kindness with strangers, realizing she lived in a world where people still cared. He envied that more than he admitted. That night, Adam placed the honey jar in his fridge, unsure why he kept it. Maybe it reminded him of her simplicity, a contrast to everything around him. Meanwhile, Daniel Reed sat in a dim office, reviewing files. His new assignment, track Adam, nephew of Farid Darzi, suspected for laundering and arms deals. Daniel was good at reading patterns, but one detail bothered him. Adam didn't act like most of Farid's men. He donated to shelters, kept a small circle, and never used violence. Daniel marked his name with a question mark and underlined it twice. Days passed. Adam went through the motions, meetings, deliveries, coded messages, but his thoughts circled back to Lily. Every evening he found an excuse to pass by her corner. Sometimes she wasn't there, and he felt strangely disappointed. Other nights, he'd find her dancing again, surrounded by strangers who clapped without really seeing her. One evening, when she struggled to carry her speaker through a sudden downpour, Adam helped. She thanked him again, then handed him a small bag. Inside was a jar of honey, the same kind as before. "You looked like you needed it," she said. At the precinct, Daniel traced financial movements tied to the Mafia, but hit dead ends. He suspected someone inside was leaking information. Then he noticed something unusual: Adam's frequent visits to the same market. Surveillance photos showed him near a young woman, always watching quietly. Daniel enlarged one picture and froze. It was Lily, his sister. He dropped the file, heart pounding. She had mentioned a man helping her carry equipment, never saying who. Now Daniel's two worlds collided. The man he was ordered to investigate was connected to the person he loved most. Daniel drove home late that night. Lily was asleep on the couch, tired from her shift. He looked at her worn dance shoes near the door and sighed. He'd promised their late parents he'd protect her, but how could he if she was unknowingly caught between Mafia and police? He sat quietly, deciding to watch first, before confronting her. Across town, Adam couldn't sleep either. He stood by the fridge, staring at the honey jar glowing faintly under the light. He opened it, took a small spoonful, and whispered to himself, "Something this sweet shouldn't exist near me." He buttered dough, the crumb in a dove powder dough. The next morning, Farid called Adam for a meeting. A shipment had gone missing, millions in product gone without a trace. "Someone's feeding the police," Farid said coldly. Adam denied involvement, though doubt flickered in his uncle's eyes. "Loyalty isn't proven by words," Farid warned. "Prove it with action." He handed Adam a list of names to watch, people they suspected of betrayal. Adam took it, but noticed something chilling. One of the addresses was near Lily's market. The idea that she might somehow be linked made his stomach twist. He promised himself he wouldn't let harm reach her. Daniel couldn't focus at work. Every clue about Adam now felt personal. He checked the surveillance again and deleted one photo showing Lily's face. His partner asked what he was doing, but Daniel brushed it off. He knew this was crossing a line, but he didn't care. He had to protect his sister first, job second. Meanwhile, Adam went back to the market, scanning faces for potential threats. Lily spotted him, waved him over, and offered coffee from a small stall. For a brief moment, the noise faded. He felt almost human again, until his phone buzzed. A message appeared. "Warehouse compromised. 2 cops dead. Watch who's following you." Adam pocketed the phone, his pulse racing. He glanced around and noticed a man pretending to buy fruit, too focused on him. He turned to leave, but Lily grabbed his arm, asking if he was okay. He forced a smile, told her he was fine, and walked away. Behind him, Daniel's unmarked car followed at a distance. He saw Adam's body language, his tension, his paranoia. Daniel didn't realize Adam was protecting Lily from something bigger, the same darkness Daniel was sworn to destroy. That night, Adam met with one of his uncle's enforcers, trying to piece together who leaked the shipment location. "Someone's feeding them," the man said, voice low. "Could even be family." Adam hated that idea, but it made sense. The Darzi Empire had cracks, and Farid was losing control. Meanwhile, Daniel called a friend at Internal Affairs, hinting that something was wrong with the operation. He didn't mention names, but suspicion grew. 2 men on opposite sides, both trying to stop the same corruption, unaware they were protecting the same woman from the storm closing in. Rain returned, heavy and cold. Lily danced under a half-broken streetlight, pretending she didn't notice Adam standing nearby. When the light suddenly flickered out, the whole market went dark. Panic spread, but Adam stayed calm. He pulled out his phone's flashlight and helped her gather her things. The power outage lasted minutes, yet it felt longer, a quiet space where their walls dropped. When the lights came back, Lily looked at him differently, as if seeing through the layers he hid behind. Adam didn't say a word, but for the first time, he didn't want to lie anymore. Daniel received the surveillance feed from that night. A grainy image showed Adam holding Lily's hand during the blackout. He froze. The line between his duty and his sister's happiness blurred instantly. He knew what happened to people who got close to the Mafia. They never stayed safe. Daniel quietly removed the image from the file before his superior could see it. His partner asked, "You okay?" Daniel lied, saying it was nothing, but inside he knew the truth. His next report would determine not just a criminal's fate, but his sister's future. Fared gathered his men for a tense meeting. "The leak continues," he said. "Someone feeds the cops." He looked at Adam longer than necessary. Adam stayed silent, eyes steady. Fared finally said, "I'm trusting you to find the traitor." The irony stung. Adam himself was starting to question his family's crimes. That night, he went through old files, finding half-burned notes about past deals. One message stood out: "He's watching you." No name, no context. But it made Adam realize something. Maybe the police weren't the only ones spying. Someone inside was setting him up. Lily came home late, exhausted. Daniel waited at the door, arms crossed. "You've been seeing that guy again," he said, trying to stay calm. She frowned. "He's just someone I met at the market." Daniel wanted to tell her everything, who Adam really was, but he couldn't. It would expose his investigation. "Just stay away from him," he finally said. Lily rolled her eyes, muttering that he treated her like a child. After she left the room, Daniel sat down, head in hands. He was breaking his own code, torn between brotherly instinct and professional duty. The next evening, Adam arrived at a warehouse near the river to deliver a fake shipment, part of his uncle's test. The plan was simple: leak false information and see which police team showed up. But when he spotted Daniel's car outside, realization hit: he was being used as bait. Inside, men whispered about killing whoever appeared. Adam panicked, trying to stall, sending messages to his contacts to warn whoever the cops were. He didn't know he was saving the life of the very man watching him, the same man who wanted him behind bars. Meanwhile, Lily cleaned out her old costume trunk and found a bus ticket from 1999 tucked inside a sleeve. The name on it made her pause. Her father's. He had died working at one of Farad's shipping yards years ago, or so she was told. She held the ticket, confused why Adam's world kept overlapping with hers. The air smelled like rain again, heavy and electric. She suddenly felt unsafe, though she couldn't explain why. That night, she dreamt of her father warning her, saying not everything lost stays buried forever. Lily woke up to soft thunder and the sound of distant bells from a nearby church. She made tea and sat by the window, watching rain fall on the street below. The quiet was rare, almost sacred. She thought about Adam, how he looked lost but gentle, dangerous but kind. Maybe she was fooling herself, but she wanted to believe there was more to him than crime. Across town, Adam sat in his car doing the same thing, watching the same rain, wondering if love could exist in lives built on secrets and lies. Daniel received an anonymous tip. The warehouse stakeout was compromised. He rushed there but found the place empty. Only Adam's lighter remained on the ground. He picked it up, studying the initials engraved on it. Back at the station, he noticed something strange. Farid's men seemed to know police schedules too well. Someone on his own team was leaking information. Daniel began to suspect his department was infiltrated. For the first time, he realized Adam might not be the main villain. The real enemy could be closer than either of them imagined. Adam spent the night driving aimlessly, avoiding calls from his uncle. He couldn't decide what scared him more: Farid's growing suspicion or his own feelings for Lily. He parked near the ocean, letting the cold air hit his face. In his mind, he saw Lily's smile, Daniel's cold stare, and Farid's threats blending into one tangled web. He realized something important: in a world full of liars, the only truth left was how you treated people when no one was watching. And for once, Adam wanted to be the kind of man Lily thought he was. The next morning, Adam walked into Farad's office. The old man was pacing, furious. "The leak continues," he said. "You're getting sloppy." Adam bit back a response. Farad's tone softened for a moment. "Love makes men weak," he warned. "Your father forgot that. Don't repeat his mistake." Adam froze. His father had died mysteriously, supposedly killed by rivals. Now Farad's words hinted otherwise. What happened to him? Adam asked quietly. Farad only smiled. Some truths destroy families. That answer haunted him for days, as if every word carried a hidden threat wrapped in care. Lily met Adam again, this time at a small diner outside the market. She brought her dance shoes to show him the worn-out soles, joking that they had survived more than she had. He laughed, something rare for him. But then she mentioned her father, the bus ticket, the strange connection. Adam's expression shifted. He realized her father once worked for Farad's company, the same time his own father disappeared. Guilt crept up his spine. He wanted to tell her everything, but he stayed silent, afraid the truth would destroy the fragile peace between them. Daniel discovered a link between his father's death and Fariah's business records. He dug deeper, connecting old files, realizing his father had investigated the Darzi family before dying in an accident. Everything clicked at once. Adam's kindness, Lily's danger, and the missing pieces from his father's case. Adam wasn't just another suspect. He was the last living witness to the truth Daniel had been chasing for years. As the puzzle formed, Daniel faced a terrible choice: protect his sister's heart or finish the mission that defined his life. Either way, someone would lose everything. Adam planned to tell Lily the truth. That night, he drove to her neighborhood, rehearsing every word in his head. But when he reached her building, he saw Daniel waiting at the door. The sight stopped him cold. Daniel's body language wasn't casual, he was protecting her. Adam stayed hidden, watching as Daniel hugged her goodbye. For the first time, Adam understood how deep the connection ran. He realized she wasn't just a stranger who danced in the rain. She was part of something bigger, the same story that had started long before either of them met. Daniel left without noticing Adam parked nearby. Lily went upstairs, unaware of what was about to unfold. Adam sat in his car, struggling. He couldn't run from this anymore. The lies, the crimes, his uncle's orders, all of it was closing in. He started the engine but didn't drive off. Instead, he opened his phone and began typing a confession message to Daniel, explaining he wanted out. His thumb hovered over send, but before he could press it, headlights flashed in his mirror. A black SUV pulled up behind him. He knew instantly, his uncle had sent someone. Two men stepped out, pretending to smoke, but Adam knew the routine. He slipped away through the alley before they reached his car. They searched the vehicle, finding the half-written message on his phone. One man called Farid. "He's turning," he said. Farid didn't respond, just hung up. Adam hid behind a dumpster, catching his breath. He realized he couldn't wait any longer. If he didn't act, both Lily and Daniel would be dragged into this. That night he made a decision: to destroy the empire that had kept him trapped since birth, even if it cost him everything. At the police station, Daniel received a tip about an illegal deal happening near the docks. He recognized the address instantly. One of Farad's warehouses. He decided to act fast, ignoring protocol. He didn't tell his team why, but deep down, he knew Adam would be there. As he prepared to leave, his superior stopped him, questioning his motives. Daniel lied smoothly, saying it was a small lead. He drove off alone, rain starting again. On the way, his mind replayed old memories. His father's voice, Lily's laughter, and the face of the man he was supposed to arrest. Adam sat alone inside his car by the dock, the rain hammering on the windshield. He took out the honey jar Lily had given him, turning it slowly in his hands. The label was peeling, revealing the faded words underneath. Pure truth. He smiled faintly, realizing how ironic it was. Everything in his world had been built on lies. For a few quiet minutes, he let himself imagine a life where things were simple: no fear, no debts, no violence, just peace and love. The sound of rain felt like forgiveness, brief, but enough to keep him moving. Lily arrived at the market earlier than usual, but something felt off. The air was tense, and fewer vendors had shown up. Her phone buzzed, an unknown number. When she answered, it was Adam. His voice was calm but urgent. "Leave the city for a few days," he said. "Don't ask questions." She tried to argue, but the line cut off. Confused and worried, she packed her things. Across town, Daniel arrived at the dock, just as Farid's men prepared for a deal. He spotted Adam's car and drew his gun, unsure if he was saving or confronting him. Daniel entered the warehouse quietly. But chaos erupted. Gunfire echoed as rival men stormed the building. Adam grabbed Daniel, pulling him behind cover before either could speak. They fought their way out, escaping through a side door. Outside, Daniel shoved him. "Why save me?" he demanded. Adam, breathless, said, "Because your sister believes I'm not like them. I want to prove her right." Daniel hesitated, lowering his gun slightly. For a moment, enemies became allies. The rain poured harder, blurring the line between right and wrong, as both realized they were being hunted by the same ruthless man. They reached an abandoned motel, soaked and exhausted. Adam explained everything: the leak, Faria's suspicions, and how he'd been planning to expose the family. Daniel listened, still skeptical but shaken. When Adam mentioned Lily's father, Daniel froze. "He worked for your uncle," Adam said. "And he was killed after discovering missing funds." Daniel's hands trembled. The truth he'd spent years chasing had always been one step away. Both men sat in silence, realizing how deeply their lives were tied together. What had started as a case was now personal, built on shared pain and unfinished justice. Lily returned home to find the door slightly open. Her heart pounded. Inside, drawers were pulled out, and her belongings scattered. Someone had been there. She called Daniel, but he didn't answer. Then she saw a note on the table, written in messy handwriting: "He's next." Fear took over. She packed a small bag and ran to a nearby cafe where she often danced for tips. There she hid among strangers, unaware that two men in black suits were watching from across the street, waiting for orders. Somewhere far away, Farad was already setting the next stage of his revenge. At the motel, Adam's phone buzzed, an encrypted message from his uncle's contact: "You failed the test. Fix it." He understood immediately. They wanted him to kill Daniel to prove loyalty. He looked at Daniel, who was asleep in a chair, exhaustion written all over him. Adam's stomach twisted. Every path forward led to betrayal. He quietly stepped outside, lit a cigarette, and stared at the horizon. For the first time, he didn't feel afraid. He had made his choice. He'd rather die fighting the family's lies than live as their obedient pawn. If you're wondering how this could possibly end, you're not alone. Keep watching to see what happens next. Adam returned inside and woke Daniel. "We need to move," he said. Daniel nodded, sensing the tension. They left before dawn, driving toward the city's outskirts. On the way, Adam revealed his plan. He had stolen files from Farid's office, containing years of transactions, coded names, and bank trails. With that evidence, they could expose everything. Daniel agreed reluctantly, realizing Adam was risking his life. "You'll never be safe after this," Daniel warned. Adam smirked. "I was never safe before." They shared an uneasy trust. Two enemies forced into alliance by the same broken truth. They stopped at a small diner on the highway. Adam showed Daniel the flash drive hidden inside a cigarette box. "This proves Farid ordered your father's death," he said. Daniel went silent. His hands clenched, then relaxed slowly. "You're sure?" Adam nodded. Daniel realized he'd been chasing shadows all these years, while the real culprit sat behind luxury gates. It wasn't justice anymore. It was personal. The two men decided to leak the data to the press and internal affairs at once. Neither knew they were being tracked through Adam's phone, already pinging their location to Farid's men. Back in the city, Farid watched the tracking screen, his face cold. "He chose wrong," he murmured. He ordered a cleanup. No witnesses, no hesitation. Meanwhile, Lily finally reached Daniel's voicemail, leaving a trembling message. "Something's happening. They came to my house. Please call me." She didn't know both men were already targets. At the diner, Adam's phone buzzed again, and his stomach dropped. He saw the active tracking signal on the screen. "They're coming," he said. Daniel grabbed the flash drive and ran to the car. Tires screeched. The chase had officially begun. As they sped down the wet road, headlights appeared behind them. Adam swerved through traffic, Daniel yelling directions. Bullets shattered the back window. Daniel returned fire, hitting one car's tire. The attackers crashed, but more vehicles joined. "They won't stop," Adam said. He veered off the main road toward a construction site, planning to lose them. They hid under a half-finished bridge as engines roared nearby. Rain soaked them again, turning dirt into mud. In that brief silence, Adam realized something. Daniel wasn't his enemy. They were two men fighting the same ghost, only from opposite sides. Fariah's patience ended. He called another crew, ordering a final strike. "Make it clean," he said, "and find the girl. She's leverage." That same night, Lily went to the only safe place she knew, the old community hall where she first learned to dance. She hid there, trembling, the red thread still tied around her ankle. The rain outside muffled every sound, except for one: footsteps. She froze. A man entered the hall, face covered, but she recognized his eyes instantly. "Adam," she whispered. He shook his head. "They found you. We have to leave now." Daniel arrived moments later, lights flashing outside as more men surrounded the hall. "Too late," Adam muttered. They hid behind the stage, whispering plans. Adam gave Daniel the flash drive. "If I don't make it, expose him," he said. Daniel refused, saying, "We finish this together." Gunfire shattered the windows. Adam grabbed Lily's hand and led her out the back door, while Daniel provided cover. The sound of sirens grew closer. Someone had tipped off the police. For once, the chaos that had defined their lives felt like it might finally bring an ending. They escaped through the alleys, running until their lungs burned. Daniel called his contact at the station, giving their location for extraction. Suddenly, another car cut them off. Farid's men stepped out, guns raised. Adam shoved Daniel and Lily behind a wall. "Go!" he shouted. He fired wildly, drawing the attackers' attention away. Daniel tried to drag him back, but Adam refused. "Protect her," he said firmly. Daniel hesitated only a second before obeying. As he fled with Lily, explosions lit the alley behind them. The last thing Lily saw was Adam disappearing into smoke and fire. Hours later, Daniel and Lily hid in an abandoned office downtown. She was crying, blaming herself. "He saved us," she said. Daniel didn't answer. He stared at the flash drive in his hand, realizing it was now the only piece of Adam left. At dawn, he turned it over to Internal Affairs. The evidence spread fast. News channels, newspapers, and online leaks exposing Farid's empire. Arrests began that same afternoon, but none of it felt like victory. The cost was too high. Daniel couldn't shake the image of Adam's face fading into the flames. 3 days later, authorities confirmed the explosion at the docks. No bodies identified, only fragments of burnt vehicles. The case closed with Adam listed as deceased. Lily attended a small memorial service by the market where they first met. She danced barefoot one last time, silent tears mixing with rain. Daniel watched from afar, unable to find the right words. For all the justice he had gained, the emptiness in his chest grew heavier. He realized justice didn't heal. It only ended the chase. Some ghosts, no matter how noble, left behind too much silence. Weeks passed. Fariah's organization crumbled. His assets were seized. His allies gone. Daniel got promoted for exposing the empire, but turned it down. He didn't want recognition built on someone else's pain. Then one evening, a message arrived from an unknown number, a short clip of a man walking through fog after the explosion. The figures build, the limp, unmistakably Adam. Daniel froze. He didn't show Lily. He only whispered, "You did it, kid," and deleted the video. Some truths were better left unseen, especially when the world believed in closure. Months later, Daniel opened a small detective agency away from the city noise. He took quiet cases, ones that didn't involve blood or fame. He kept the flash drive in his drawer, a reminder of what real justice cost. Lily visited sometimes, bringing food and laughter back into his quiet world. Every time she danced in his small office, the sound of her shoes against the floor reminded him that life still went on. Even in loss there was movement, rhythm, and a strange kind of peace neither of them expected to find again. Lily stopped performing for money and began teaching children instead. She turned the community hall into a small dance studio, painting the walls herself. The place smelled of paint and rain. Each child who walked in carried a story, just like her. She taught them not just to move, but to feel safe again. One evening, as she closed up, she found a small package outside the door. Inside was a honey jar, label half torn, and a note that simply said, "For the days you saved me." Her eyes filled with tears as she whispered his name softly. Daniel arrived moments later and saw the jar. He didn't ask who sent it. They both knew. "He's alive," she said, smiling through tears. Daniel nodded, hiding his own relief. They stood in silence for a while, watching the streetlights flicker outside. Neither spoke about what came next. They just accepted that Adam was out there somewhere, living quietly, maybe finally free. Some people vanished, not because they were lost, but because they had finally found the peace they'd been searching for all along. Far from the city, in a small coastal town, Adam lived under a new name. He worked fixing boats, blending into the background. Every evening he walked to the pier with a cup of coffee, watching the sunset fade into the sea. Sometimes he heard the distant echo of street music, a song Lily used to dance to. It made him smile. He didn't regret anything. The chaos, the loss, the fire, it all led here. He had escaped the shadow of his family and built something rare in his world, quiet freedom. One rainy evening, Adam stood by his window, watching droplets race down the glass. He picked up a small red thread he had kept all this time, wrapping it around his wrist. It reminded him of her, of everything real and human in his otherwise dark life. He whispered, "Some love doesn't save you. It teaches you how to survive." Outside, thunder rolled, distant but gentle. In another part of the city, Lily taught children to dance under the same rain. Somewhere between those two storms, peace finally settled, fragile, quiet, and real.